Hey everybody, welcome back to Stone Mountain Barbecue. I'm Jason and today we're cooking up some spare ribs. Now I've been getting a lot of questions asking about what the first meat they should try to cook on their new smoker, or if I have any recommendations on how to season or do things like that. So this video is going to kind of be pertaining to that person that's maybe they've got a new smoker over the weekend for Memorial Day and they're wanting to get something put on there and cook it up and make it delicious for the whole family, but they really don't know where to start. This video is for you. Y'all stick with me, we'll see what we can do. Alright folks, like I said, we've got a beautiful set of spare ribs that we're going to be smoking today, and it's going to be super basic, super simple. The biggest thing about barbecue is don't be scared of it. I got started a few years ago and really didn't know a whole lot about it, but I just jumped in and went for it, and I started this channel to show people that you don't have to be, a well-known pit master to make really good food. So that's what we're going to be doing today. We're going to be cooking up these spare ribs, super simplistic, super easy, no frills, no thrills, but it's still going to taste delicious. One of the biggest things that I wish I had done when I first started out with barbecue was actually write down what I did. The hardest thing was to always remember the different steps, the different things, the different rubs, different seasonings, the different methods, different techniques, and all of that stuff. So today, what I'm going to be showing you is something that I think as a beginner to barbecue, you may find useful, you may find it helpful, and that's pretty much it. It's something to help you along the way so that you can get consistent and get the same results that you enjoy each and every time you cook. Big thanks to Zach over at Holy Smokes Barbecue. He sent me this book. It's their barbecue logbook. It says track your times, temps, and cooks, become a pit master. And in this thing you can see there, you can set up and write down everything that you do in this logbook. It's got a place for meat type, comments about the meat, weight, price per pound even, like what you paid for it at the time, the date, what you did to prep, the rub you use, glaze, mops, marinades, procedures. Then it even goes on over here and it lets you go by the hour or whatever time frame you want to put, and what the temperature was on the cooker, your meat temps, vent temp, how much you have the vent open if you're using a cooker that does that. Things you've added, things you change, comments during the whole process. And then at the end, you've got notes you can write throughout the cook. But then after it, what I like is you have this post-cook section. It gives you the ability to kind of rate your cook overall, what you enjoy about it, what you like about it. It goes from exterior appearance. You're essentially doing a competition cook for yourself so that you can keep up with what you like, what you don't like, and tweak everything that you do in between. Me personally, I've cooked some really good food in the past, and I've struggled to recreate that. So this book, I think, will help out not only those people that are, cooking on the next level as far as being consistent in their competitions and things like that, but also the beginner who just wants to document what they've done, keep up with it so that they know, maybe next time they want to take a little bit of salt out, or they want to, go a little bit longer on the smoke or something like that. Something super simple, but something super easy to forget about, if you're only cooking once a week or once every 2 weeks. So let's get this pork seasoned up. Super basic, super simple, guys. So here's that beautiful set of spare ribs that I was talking about, guys. These are Smithfield extra tender. They do come in a little bit of a sodium salt solution, but I don't think that's too bad. I've patted them dry, and that's really all you need to do. Just make sure they're not overly wet. Kind of pat them dry. We're going to use some mustard as a binder. This is totally optional. You don't have to do this. I do it just because I've done it since the beginning, and it's never done anything that I didn't approve of, so that's kind of where we're at. Now you can start on either side. I'm going to start on the top side, flip them over, and we're just going to rub this mustard in. Not a big technique, nothing special about it. We're just using it to help the rub stick to the meat. Now you can use whatever rub that you want. I'm doing a little bit of a combo rub of two of my favorites. I say that in every video. I have a lot of favorites. The first one is going to be this Plowboys Yardbird. We're just going to do a light coat across the top. And again, there's no, If you're just cooking for your family in the backyard, there's really nothing special to doing this. You want to get pretty much like a 3/4 coverage across the top to make sure that you're as even as possible. And then I'm going to come in and hit it with this Killer Hogs The Barbecue Rub. This is from Malcolm over at How to Barbecue Right, and I just think it gives a really, really, really good color. Again, if you're just cooking in the backyard, that doesn't really matter. Use whatever you like. If you like more, sugary rubs and or salty or peppery or whatever, then just do that. So now that we've got that on there, we're going to go ahead and we're just going to pat your seasonings into the meat. You don't want to rub it. You're just going to want to make sure that everything gets as stuck to that meat as possible. And then we flip. Notice how not a lot of seasonings come off of there? Now, on the back side here, another option that you have is to remove this membrane. For the sake of this video, and to show you that you do not have to remove this membrane, we're not going to. I have other videos I'll put in the iCard where I remove this membrane and I'll show you how to do it. But if you're just starting out, this is your first rib cook ever, just worry about getting the best flavor of meat possible. Don't worry about all this extra stuff. You can come in, these are cut to where you don't have this huge flap. They were done from the store. You do have this flap you could hack off if you want to. But like I said, I'm just wanting to show you that you can pull meat ribs out of the pack and make a good product just from what you have. So we're going to do the same thing. We're just going to repeat. You want to try to get your edges too. That way you get full coverage of rub on everything. Alright, so we're coming back in with the Plowboys. One tip, don't spread your rubs down here across, on top of the ribs. Bring it up a little bit so you get a little bit more even coverage and you don't waste as much rub that way. And get these ends and the sides as good as you can. And then we're going to come back in with this The Barbecue Rub from Killer Hogs. And we're just going to pat that in there. I feel like I sounded like Bob Ross just now. We're just going to do some happy little pats. Okay? So there. Now this rub is going to make this meat look wet. It's going to sweat out the meat. And that just means that it's penetrating and getting down into that meat. While you're waiting on this to happen, you can be getting your grill fired up. You can be getting utensils together, other things. Just let this sit, hang out, what we call get happy. And that's all we're going to do. Now while this rub is just doing its thing with these ribs, I'm going to show you right here, I'm going to put up just a simple, basic barbecue rub with stuff that you probably already have in your cabinets that you don't even know about. Things like, we're talking about paprika, salt, pepper, garlic, maybe even a little bit of brown sugar. Just simple things that you probably already have and that you didn't even think to put together to make a simple barbecue rub. Be right here. Check it out. Pause the video, write it down, whatever you want to do. Thank me later. Alright guys, we're using our Pit Boss pellet smoker today. We've got it set around 250 degrees. The neighbor's dogs come and say, hey, what's going on, Petey? But we're going to go ahead and throw these on here. Tips are sitting right around 250 to 275. You can see here on these ribs, they have sweated out. You got a ton of moisture that's drawn out of this meat. That's going to be good because smoke sticks to cold, wet meat. So that's what we're doing here. And get the pits opened up. that on there.
Booyah!
Now we're going to do the 3-2-1 method today. It's a super simple, easy technique to use when you're first starting to learn how to barbecue ribs. We're going to do 3 hours on the smoke, unwrapped, just smoke and rub. That's it. Then after that 3-hour mark, we're going to go ahead and take some foil, wrap these ribs up for 2 hours. We're going to use a little bit of butter, a little bit of brown sugar, and some stuff called tiger sauce that I'll show you in a little bit. It almost braises the pork. It gets them real tender. Then after that 2 hours wrapped up, we're going to take them out of the foil, put them back on the smoke for an hour, let that meat tighten back up, put some more smoke on it, and then we'll be ready to eat. I'll see y'all back in a little bit. Alright guys, so the ribs have been on for right at 2 hours. It's 3:30 now. We put them on right at 1:30. And to me, they're looking pretty good. The bark is set. We've got a really good color on it. But we're still going to go that 3-hour mark, just like we had wrote down, just like we had planned on doing. And so what we're going to do right now is we're going to spritz. Now you don't have to do this if you don't want to. I'm just going to use water, just straight water. So nothing special. But we're just going to spray them down spritz. Let's take a look at them. So here we go. You got some moisture pulling up in here, and that's fine. But we're just going to take some just plain old water, and we're just going to give them a little bit more moisture. And there we go. Now that's all there is to it. It's literally that simple. They got a little bit dry. Spray some water on them. Keep that humidity high inside the pit, and you'll still have some really juicy, tender ribs. We're gonna go 1 more hour, just like this, and then we're gonna be wrapping them up. So I'll check back in with you when we're doing that. All right, guys, we just now pulled these ribs off the smoker. It's been the 3 hours that we initially allowed for just the smoke and the rub. And that smoke, that hickory smoke from those pellets, has given these ribs a great color. I mean, look at that. Just that nice mahogany. I'm salivating just thinking about it. What we're going to do now is we're going to take some heavy-duty aluminum foil and we're going to wrap these things up, but we're going to put a few extra ingredients in there just to add to some flavor and then help the process go on along. Let's check that out. So as you can see, guys, I've got 2 layers of heavy-duty aluminum foil. Typically, I only use 1 and then double wrap it, but when we're doing the full set of spare ribs, I need that extra little bit of foil to make sure that we can get this thing fully wrapped up. First thing we're going to do, I'm using dark brown sugar. You can use light, whatever you have in the cabinet really is what I would use. It's not that hard. It's not anything that needs to be overcomplicated. You just want to put a little bit of sweetness and let this caramelize on top of your ribs there. We're getting down to the bottom of the bag. Then we're going to take some of I'm using parquet, squeezed butter. I've always used this with ribs, but you can use butter pads if you don't have any parquet, or you can just get some dollops of butter out of your, container that you have. And just put some down on the bottom. We're going to take a little bit of honey. It doesn't have to be this brand, just whatever you got laying around. This is all stuff, guys, that you've probably got somewhere in your pantries or in your cabinets. Now, this is something that I'm going to add that you may not have in there, and it's tiger sauce, the original. It's a hot sauce that's good on pretty much anything, and I really like it on ribs. I've used it in the past, but we're just going to put a little bit of it right there in the middle. Now, we're going to take our ribs. Can't believe how good these things are looking. And we're going to lay them right there, meat side down. Now on this back side, we're just going to repeat the exact same thing. We got our brown sugar. I'm just going to finish out my bag here. This will all melt and combine together. Take your squeezed butter, or like I said, anything you've got in the cabinets. haven't done just a full slab of spare ribs in a long time. I usually cut them down St. Louis style, or what some people would say competition style, but I have to admit, this is, I forgot how easy it is if you ain't trying to make stuff look a lot pretty. But now listen, these ribs are going to come out looking pretty too. And then we're just going to hit it with a little bit of this tiger sauce. Now you want to fold up your ends first to make sure that everything's enclosed. And we've got a piece right here that's going to burn up. I'm going to tear it off because all it would have done was just made a hole in our foil. So we're going to fold this end up. And then fold the sides up, making sure that we've got a nice, tight seal. And you always want to make sure that you're using heavy duty foil. The regular stuff, you can get by with it if you're really careful. But as this cooks and starts to braise in this liquid that we create, these bones are going to start poking out. And as it shrinks up, they're going to be sharp on this foil. So you're going to want to make sure they use some heavy duty stuff so that when that starts to happen, you don't lose all the juice in here. So now that we've got this wrapped up, we're going to get it back out on the pit for 2 hours. Now, like I said, guys, we've been cleaning up the garage. We've been doing a lot of work around the house today. I haven't really been paying attention to these ribs. You don't have to sit and look at what you're cooking all day. Yeah, I check the meat or the temperature on the pit maybe every 45 minutes to an hour. We've fluctuated on temperatures between 225 and 265. And usually if it gets up 265, I just go and burp it, meaning I open the lid of the cooker and let some of that heat get out. That way whenever I close it, because we're using a pellet smoker and we set our temperature, it doesn't try to climb back up. As long as we get it closed and it don't fall below the target temp, we're good. So let's get these put back out there because I'm getting hungry. All right, guys, these ribs have been wrapped up now for 2 hours, so we're a total of 5 hours into the cook. Now, these things are super tender already, so we're gonna let them tighten back up by unwrapping them. If you come over here, you can look in and see all of this juice that is rendered out from the butter and the brown sugar and the honey and that tiger sauce that we put together earlier. You can see we've got crazy pullback on the bones. Some of these rib tips have even fallen out already. So what we're going to do is carefully and strategically, some would even say surgically, remove this slab of ribs from this foil. Where we use 2 different pieces of foil, you're going to have some spillage here. There's just no way around it. But try your best, use some tongs, and I'm going to actually enlist some help from Wifey here to pull this foil out as I flip these ribs over. So we'll see you guys back whenever we've got them on here. All right, guys, so we've got these ribs back on here. Now this is the last part of our cook. We're going to leave these just like this, unwrapped for 1 hour. Now in this hour, you kind of have barbecue freedom. You can choose to get your favorite sauce and glaze these things up, about 30 minutes in, or you can just leave them like this. Because we're doing this simple beginner's barbecue video, this is all we're doing. We're not doing anything to it. We're just gonna let these go for 1 hour, tighten back up, put them on the cutting board, and then I'm gonna eat them. It's really bright out here. But I'll see you guys when we're eating these things. Stay tuned. All right, folks, we are finished. 6 hours, almost to the dot, give or take maybe 5 or 10 minutes, just depending how long it took me to walk downstairs. But great color on these ribs. I'm super pleased with the way they turned out. They're looking like they're a little too tender for me as far as falling off the bone. We can literally just pull that out. So for the way I like to do ribs, they're a little bit over. But let's cut a piece off here and see what we have. These things are still super hot. Look at that smoke ring. They're super juicy. There's juice running down my hand. A great smoke ring. The bark on there looks delicious. Let's take a bite here. They're still super hot. But that's still a pretty decent bite. They are really, really tender. I can't tell that I left the membrane on there. Overall, they're a great set of ribs, and I'm going to have a really good time eating them. You can go ahead, if you wanted to, put some barbecue sauce on these now. Just make sure that you warm it up a little bit before you do, because putting cold sauce on warm meat, it's not really that fun. Let me grab me a rag here. I want to remember and to thank Zach over at Holy Smokes Barbecue for sending me the book. I'm really going to use this thing, guys. I mean, the biggest thing about me and this cooking journey is that a lot of the things I've tried to do and recreate, I haven't been able to because I don't remember. But this book has kind of kept me, you can see here, the times that I've changed or done anything. I've made sure to write it down, kind of write what I'm thinking. I did write that I pulled these at 7:45 and that they seem super tender. After I get done with this video, I'm actually going to go on over to the next page and I'm going to do my post-cook evaluation, kind of see what I like about the exterior appearance, the quality of the bark, smoke ring, overall tenderness, moisture, the smell, the flavor, and then just overall everything else. It's a super helpful book. It's good that, you know, someone's put one together that you can just write down everything that you think. That way you can go back and use it as a reference later on. I'll put a link in the description box to their YouTube channel and then also to their Amazon link to pick one of these books up for yourself. Thanks again, guys. I really do appreciate it. But yeah, let's see, bone's just falling out. That's a really good rib though, either way. It won't get thrown away. I appreciate you for watching, guys. If you're new to the channel, be sure to subscribe. We're hitting almost 4,000. I think we're in the mid-range of 3,600 plus. So we've got that goal of 5,000, so be sure to help me out with that. Hit that thumbs up if you like the video. Be sure to let me know down in the comment section what you thought about it. And I guess that's just going to be it. Y'all stick with me. We'll see what we can do, guys. Thanks. God bless.